What is up, everybody out there in podcast land? It is time, your favorite time of the week. It is time for a new episode of Sports Frenzy 2.0 with your Uncle Kev
and Uncle Dave,
the Maestro and the Conquistador, back together again. And of course, we have got tons to talk about in terms of NASCAR as we wind down the regular season, heading into the playoffs. We've got some football news, especially college football, where chaos still reigns supreme in terms of teams moving,
jumping back and forth. Who's going to play on what channel? It's just ridiculous.
But, of course, the big news of the past week was the baseball trade deadline has come and gone, and we are here to recap everything that happened, especially with what happened to our teams. Why don't we start off there? Let's start off with the White Sox.
The abysmal White Sox sitting fourth, 12 games back at 43-65. 22 games under. Ridiculous. But lots of trades taking place. Rick Hahn, again, still not really having a frickin' clue what he's doing. Don't know what direction they plan. Obviously, it's another rebuild because the grand scheme he put together 5 years ago has failed miserably. But I digress.
Not really. You're not really digressing.
No. That whole entire organization needs to be blown up. Reinsdorf he has to stop hiring anybody who is affiliated with the team and being loyal to the detriment of the organization. Rick Hahn, Kenny Williams have been in the front office positions as GM, assistant GM, now GM and president of baseball operations. They need to go. End of story. And don't bring anybody damn else who ever played for the team or was part of the organization. Go outside and start over. Only way to do it.
Sadly, I think that it's going to take Reinsdorf selling a team for that to happen.
Yeah, or kicking off. Like, how many years did I say the Blackhawks weren't going to do anything until old man Wirtz kicked off? And when he did, Rocky redid the organization, and within a few years, they started their run of winning 3 cups. You got to make changes. But changes via trade. Started off Lucas Giolito and Ronaldo Lopez, a couple of pitchers sent off to the Angels in return for catching prospect Ed Cuero and left-handed pitcher Kai Bush. Next up, Lance Lynn and Joe Kelly traded to the Dodgers for outfielder Trace Thompson, who the frickin' Sox drafted back in 2009 and shipped him off in a trade. They get him back. He hasn't done jack crap. And they pick up 2 pitching prospects, Nick Nastrini and Jordan Leisure. Then Kendall Graveman, thank God he's gone. He was an absolute disaster. Shipped off to the Astros for minor league catcher Corey Lee. 2 catching prospects. I know we've got Grandal, final year going away. We've got a solid defensive catcher in Sebi Zavala. I guess they're looking for his backup. Who knows? As a minor league catcher, Corey Lee comes in. Then, the one I'm not happy about, slugging infielder Jake Berger.
And that was a late deal.
Yeah, late deal. Traded to the Marlins for left-handed pitcher Jake Elder, who's supposed to be some hot shot coming up. We'll see. He probably will flame out like everybody else. And then, in a really late move, Kenyon Middleton was shipped off to the Yankees for right-handed pitcher Juan Carrella. So we lose 6 pitchers and an infielder. We got back 5 pitchers, 2 catchers, and an outfielder. Yay, team.
But the question is, how many of those players you acquired are going to be ready for the big leagues next year?
maybe 2, possibly. We'll see.
Again, this is the way things go. And we'll talk about the other teams out there outside of our teams that decided to sell, and the ones that buy. And I admire your detail. Your attention to detail is fantastic, because I didn't give any rat's crap about any of that for my team. All I know is
we have nowhere to go but up, and I know this is going to be picked to death.
Yeah, the minor league stuff I don't care about. I don't know enough about the prospects. I'm not that much of a geek where I don't know anything about the prospects you're giving up or you're getting.
Yeah, supposedly this Jake Elder is one of the top 4 prospects in the Marlins organization. We supposedly got the 3 and 4 prospects from the Angels. But again, prospects.
Yeah, because the only thing I'm going to say about the Cubs is you were talking about how you went and reacquired Trace Thompson. We went out and reacquired Jeimer Candelario,
who at least had some semblance of success for you.
He's developed even more while he's been away, so they bring him back in. He'll play third base. First game, last night's game was unbelievable against the Reds. 20 runs. They went nuts. Dansby Swanson, 2 home runs.
The Cubs,
Candelario, 4 hits in his first game back with the Cubs.
Third base is what you needed.
And yeah. And we did. I don't think we gave up a ton to get him.
No. And the Cubs are only second behind the Rangers in most double-digit runs scored.
Yeah. That offense, now that you're keeping Bellinger, that offense should continue to excel. No more excuses. No cold weather. Ooh, April's cold. Beginning of May's cold.
Yeah, balls.
Yeah. So, I believe the Cubs are 4 games out of first place right now. Might be a little bit closer after tonight, hopefully. Again, I did not do my detailed research on this. The 20 runs just blinded me. I was just so ecstatic after losing 2. I kind of have to say I like what the Cubs did. They backed out of the seller market completely, and they did just enough in the buyer market to make me think, okay, we didn't go crazy in terms of committing money long-term, picking up contracts that we're going to have to worry about in the next 3-4 years.
Yeah, you filled the major glaring need that you had in that infield.
Yeah. And now, of course, we kind of find out why maybe Marcus Stroman wasn't traded, is because now he goes on the IL with a hip issue.
Yep. I actually, on my way over, they played on the Score 670. They played an interview clip where he goes, yeah, this is something I've dealt with before. I've got a cortisone shot into the hip. It's going to take 5-6 days for it to go. I'll probably miss a start, and then I'll be ready to go. It's not new. So it sounded like a guy who knows his body, knows what needs to be done now.
I am guardedly optimistic about this team now. Guardedly. Again, we know who's in charge on field.
Right.
And we know how I feel about him.
But at least the players on the field
have
gelled. They have that camaraderie and the ability to try and pick each other up that is so sorely lacking on the South Side.
Now, you're really buttering me up here, and I appreciate it, but we're only, 1 game above 500 right now? So
you're above 500.
I do have, guarded optimism about this team. I do agree with you to a point.
If you had a real manager, you guys would be on your way.
Yes, I was cynical about the Bellinger signing, and he has been all of that in a bag of flaming hot chips, man. He's been fantastic. He had a little stint on the IL, but other than that, he's been great. I love Dansby Swanson. he's done more in less than one season, in my eyes, than Jason Hayward did in, 7? And we're still paying for the 8th this year?
Exactly.
Stroman, he's on a downturn right now, but you still got Steele contending for the Cy Young. You still got Mr. Reliable, the Professor, Kyle Hendricks, pitching fairly well. So I'm
cautiously optimistic.
Currently cautiously optimistic that they could sneak in. I think they could win the division. I think they could.
They could.
I really do. Because the Reds did nothing. The Brewers did next to nothing. But the problem is the Brewers have a much better manager.
They do. Now,
Craig Counsell will get that team staying away from prolonged slumps. He'll get them at least grinding it out to the point where you're going to have to blow the doors off to catch them.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
Yep.
Maybe Uncle Rossi will come up with something.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever. We've got all the other teams now to look at and discuss. Give the Angels credit. They did not trade Shohei Ohtani.
No, they went out to try and make a move.
As you mentioned, they picked up Lucas Giolito, Ronaldo Lopez.
Good riddance to Lopez. Good luck with that.
So we'll see. I still am not optimistic about the Angels like I am about the Cubs. You mentioned some of the positives with the Cubs. I still don't know what the Angels are trying to do under Artie Moreno. They throw money at players and just hope it's going to work out, but they don't build a team.
No.
They still don't have a great pitching staff. They've probably got one of the worst pitching staffs in baseball, but they think with, the big two, Trout and Ohtani, that's going to carry them through, and then they just ignore the fact they're flushing money down the toilet with Rendon.
Yeah, it's almost like the Mets where you just throw money and hope it sticks and will gel together, but it won't.
And what happened with the Mets?
Well, of course, the whole Scherzer-Verlander dynamic, we knew that wasn't going to work. Anybody with a brain saw the last 4 years Scherzer declining, where he wasn't able to finish out seasons and was breaking down. Verlander, came off his Tommy John great, but he's getting up there. Father Time's catching him. Wasted money.
Yeah, and I believe the number I heard, I haven't confirmed it, but the number I heard in terms of between Scherzer and Verlander, Max Scherzer, of course, going to the Texas Rangers, Justin Verlander going back to the Houston Astros, the Mets are going to eat about $100 million total on those two deals.
Yeah, just to get rid of the contracts.
And get the prospects back.
Yeah. Idiot ownership.
Yep, they traded their closer, Dave Robertson, to the Miami Marlins in division, which you rarely see.
Yeah, that doesn't happen often at all. So
I know they shipped out Mark Canha and Tommy Pham as well.
Yeah.
So like the White Sox, it's almost looking like a rebuild.
Yeah. And then, was it the Marlins? Didn't they also pick up Flaherty from the Cardinals?
Absolutely not. You're absolutely wrong. That was a last-minute move for the Baltimore Orioles.
The Orioles got him, sorry.
Yeah, the Orioles looked like they were going to stand pat. And then at the last second, they pulled the trigger and brought in another decent starting pitcher in Flaherty from the Cardinals. Now, the Cardinals are another team where they have just given up trading Jordan Montgomery and Flaherty, so their rotation is completely decimated. Shocked that they didn't get rid of Arenado. That was a name I was hearing for weeks.
Oh, I know. Everybody I thought was going to be trying to get him for that final push, but alas.
Yep. And Tampa Bay actually made a very intriguing move, and it's interesting on both fronts, the seller and the buyer. So Aaron Savale was injured early on in the year for the Cleveland Guardians. You know how much I want to call them the Indians. It's ridiculous. Came on after a couple rough starts, kind of like Kyle Hendricks did with the Cubs after coming back from his shoulder issues.
Right.
And just was pitching at a Cy Young level. I'm not kidding you. And Cleveland, in that trash heap, I'm sorry, that trash heap of the division that your White Sox are in, the AL
Central is garbage. It is absolute trash.
The Guardians almost kind of, they don't put up the white flag, but they kind of jerk a little bit, have a little spasm with it.
It's like,
as they trade arguably their best pitcher to the Tampa Bay Rays. And now you sit there and you go, so is Cleveland bailing? What are they doing? Now, we know Tampa Bay, they haven't played well lately, but they're still within striking distance of getting back, catching the Orioles.
Yeah, they should get one of the wild cards.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But now is Cleveland bailing? What are they doing? You know, why did they give up on this kid?
I don't think they never had a plan to stay in it.
And the thing that boggles my mind is I kind of get it with the Pittsburgh Pirates. I kind of get it with the Royals. But Cleveland is going to act like they're a low budget, you know.
They've been acting low budget for the last 5 years.
I don't like it. I really don't like it. You don't think of Cleveland as a team. The football team is spending money. The basketball team spends.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden the baseball team
aren't doing anything.
Even again, though they have one of the best managers in the game.
Right.
And watch, they'll somehow figure out a way to win that division again because it's trash.
Yeah, the Twins are a joke.
Right. And they did nothing.
They
at the trade
did
deadline.
absolutely nothing. Although I don't think they had money or prospects to do anything.
So the West is interesting again because Texas picks up Scherzer. They also picked up the Jordan Montgomery Cardinals bailout deal.
Yep.
So they bring in 2 quality starters. We mentioned Verlander goes to the Astros, so they strengthen their rotation. We just saw Framber Valdez last night throw a no-hitter right after they acquired Verlander.
Yeah. The third no-hitter of the season. 93 pitches.
Yeah.
One blemish was a walk that was eliminated on a double play on the next at-bat.
And I believe, he was my pick for the AL Cy Young. Now he's not going to get it because he doesn't have enough wins.
Right.
But
still, that was a hell of an outing.
Yep.
It's rare to get that under 100 pitches.
Yeah. I swear I heard today that there was a game today because, of course, this is travel day.
Yeah.
As we go Wednesday into Thursday. There was a game that finished in under 2 hours today.
Nice.
So these rules, I'll tell you what, these rules are working.
Gotta like it.
Yep. And unfortunately, I guess we should end the first segment on I don't want to say somber note because that makes it sound like somebody died, but if you become commissioner of a major sport, are you just like set until you decide to retire?
Pretty much.
Rob Manfred gets extended through 2029 as commissioner of MLB.
It should be on a year-to-year basis.
And Roger Goodell, pulls in what, 50, 60 million a year?
Yeah,
for doing a job that a blind monkey could do. You can't screw up the NFL right now. You just can't. Bettman, you're more knowledgeable about the job he's done than I am.
He just plugs right along, not flashy, doesn't really stir up anything.
You guys know how I feel about the alien that runs the NBA. He gets away with being a complete incompetent beyond belief.
Yeah, you thought Manfred was incompetent.
Yeah. At least like we were just talking about. The rule changes this year have brought a little bit more excitement, made the game a little bit more streamlined.
Yeah. That's helped having the nerve to actually make that happen
Right.
was a good thing. I still don't give him credit for anything else.
No.
There's so much that needs to be fixed.
No, if you are a good leader, Manfred would have, as we've talked about for years, forced them to put in a floor, a salary floor, to make the Royals, to make the Pirates, to make the Guardians.
And a hard cap. None of this luxury cap bullshit.
Yeah. Well, look at the Mets. I mean, it's pathetic that they can go so far over the cap, record-setting team salary, and then they just blow it all up. What, 6 months later?
Yeah. Oops.
And Steve Cohen's like, let me dig in my car for some change here.
Yeah. Let me find a couple
there's
of
$100 million that I can use to cover the
a couple
Scherzer,
of loose
Verlander
bundles sitting under the seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is why the NFL is still the best. The hard cap.
And non-guaranteed contracts.
Yep. Absolutely. But that's going to do it for segment 1, kids. That's our talk for baseball for this week. Now we've got 2 months left in the regular season. Now we will see which teams are going to get it out, which teams are going to make it, which teams are not, which ones gambled. The Padres.
Whose gamble paid off?
How about the Padres going all in, even though they're kind of way out
back?
Yeah, they got to jump a lot of teams to get into the wild card.
Yeah, I can't see them making that kind of run.
But yeah, they brought in a ton of guys.
They've got no team chemistry.
I think that's a great point because they just keep bringing guys in saying superstar.
That doesn't work.
We've seen that time and time again where it does not work.
It fails.
So, buckle up, kids, for 2 months of baseball drama.
Yep. Maybe you need some Dramamine for the ups and downs your teams are going to go through.
Yeah, hopefully when you're doing those ups and downs and the roundabouts, the support on the coaster doesn't break.
No kidding. Good.
And if you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. It's been out there for months. But your Uncle Dave and I will be right back. We'll be back with our NASCAR recap, last week's race with a somewhat surprising winner at Richmond.
Yep,
and then,
little SRX news.
Of course, we're halfway through the season now, and our picks for Michigan. So hang out through a quick promo break, kids, and we will be right back. Are you tired of getting body slammed by the mainstream sports media? Are you sick of their lame trash talk? Check out Sports Frenzy 2.0 with a tag team of the Maestro and the Conquistador. Pile drive those jackasses into submission. Available on all major podcast hosts, including Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Apple, Overcast, and Castbox. Kev Dave slap a figure 4 on all the major sports networks who lie, kiss ass, and refuse to take names. New episodes drop every Thursday with new weekend edition episodes every Saturday. And that's the bottom line, 'cause Sports Frenzy said so.
All right, kids, time to get your motor running here. August 2nd, 2023, hitting Thursday, August 3rd. It is the second segment of Sports Frenzy with me, the Conquistador Dave Height.
Along with the Maestro, Kevin Crane.
So, talking NASCAR on Spotify, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Amazon, Audible, iHeartRadio, Apple, Overcast, Castbox, and Stitcher for a couple more weeks.
Yeah. Just so sad I keep getting these reminder emails. Please remember that Stitcher is shutting down on August 29th.
No!
Yes, we will miss Stitcher. Maybe somebody else will step up in their stead. But of course, we have a lot of racing NASCAR to discuss. Let's start off with the big media rights news that broke this week. And again, the CW, the new owners, the CW, yes, that station you used to watch over the air that carried The Flash and Arrow when they were good.
And then delved into the dark, dreary, politically correct crap.
They have decided with their new ownership to go into sports hard and heavy. We have discussed the fact they are now the home of Live Golf. We have discussed here recently the fact they swooped in and grabbed the rights to ACC sports.
Yep. Now they're entering auto racing. For the first time ever, the entire NASCAR Xfinity Series will be televised.
On free TV.
On free TV. No jumping to somebody's cable alternative. No doing a streaming alternative. Straight up free TV.
This will start in 2025 and run through 2031. Do your math, kids. That is a 7-year deal for $800 million. And I feel like this is a win-win.
Oh, absolutely.
We've got a new player now in terms of sports coverage. A little bit easier to access, like you talked about. Much more accessible than having to find something on Peacock or ESPN Plus, or
jumping over to USA or FX1,
or God forbid Apple.
Yeah, that crap fest.
So yeah, starting in 2025, as Dave said, all Xfinity Series races for 7 years will be free and live on the CW.
I love it.
I'm kind of rooting for the CW now.
No kidding. Come on, see what else you can bring over. Keep it off the stupid-ass streaming services.
Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. Now, the Hall of Fame was announced today. Small class, only 3 were voted in, elected in, however you want to look at it, not counting the other special inductees, because I know Janet Guthrie was brought in. But the 3 that were actually, of the group that we discussed here a few weeks back, you knew this was going to happen. They were going to go in together.
You knew Canals and Johnson were going to be there together.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. I still think it's too early. They could have waited several more years down the line.
Well, see, the thing I don't like is making it a package deal where they have to go in together because it's a nice feel-good moment. Jimmy Johnson, I don't have a problem with. Jimmy Johnson getting in early, I don't have a problem with. Chad Canals could wait. Let's put a driver in there.
There's more deserving than Canals.
Yes. But no, we've got to make it a package deal because it's so heartwarming.
Because Hendrick paid him off.
And then, of course, Donnie Allison finally gets in. So, again, small class. You don't look
like
happy.
Don't like it.
Well, it's a Hall of Fame. Is there any Hall of Fame that actually does things the right way?
No, there's not. They're either too damn elitist or they're too damn generous.
Yep. NFL, I would say too generous. Baseball too elitist. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, too elitist.
No, they're just effed in the head.
That's true. They let a lot of people in. It's just all the wrong people.
Exactly.
But that's a topic for a weekend edition episode in the future, when they announce their next shitty-ass class to go into the Rock Hall of Fame.
All right. Richmond. We did not get to see the race because we were traveling to a concert on Sunday, which we will give a review for a party gras on the weekend edition.
Very nice. Very nice. So, yes, unfortunately, we did not get to watch Richmond. We were keeping track of it on our little tiny handheld devices. So we did see the surprise winner, somewhat surprise winner. He's won before, but it's not the type of name when it pops up in victory lane that you normally expect.
Yes, so congratulations, Mr. Busher, on getting your victory and probably clinching yourself a spot in the final 16.
Yeah, and he was in on points.
He was
already.
So this kind of definitely solidifies it.
So it doesn't shake up the picture in terms of that last spot or two.
No.
Really doesn't mess that up very much. Tyler Reddick had the pole and won the first stage. And good day overall for Rouse, Fenway, Keselowski. As Boucher wins, Keselowski has a strong showing, won stage 2.
Yep. So they're finding their way.
Which you figured they would.
It was just going to take a little time.
Now, an odd little strategy move that seemed to backfire. AJ Allmendinger, in the thick of going for that 16th and final spot in the playoff hunt, his team owner supposedly told him, no, you focus on winning the Xfinity race at Road America. We'll put in Derek Kraus, young Derek Kraus, to qualify for you. Yes, we know that means we'll have to start in the back, but at least maybe we get a better pit selection, and then you do what you have to do. We're all about trophies.
Okay, I thought it was all about championships.
So why don't you, if you're all about trophies, why don't you send Allmendinger to like a little local go-kart track where they're giving out I mean, I don't understand this thinking, this line of reasoning at all.
It makes zero sense.
If Allmendinger was back in 25th in the points,
then yes. Fine.
He's 17th, I believe, at the time.
He's fighting for that last spot. And all it's going to take, we've got 2 more road courses coming up.
Right. And I've got to believe that's what they're thinking, they're going to go all out to win one of those 2 road courses. He's won Indy before on the Cup level.
Yep.
But he did not win Road America.
No, he did
not. So the gamble did not pay off.
So there you go. Watch
interesting,
what the hell
weird,
you're doing.
Wild strategy, kids. Weird, wild stuff.
You are correct, sir.
In terms of silly season things, kind of starting to percolate a little bit. Corey LaJoie gets a multi-year extension to stay with Spire Motorsports. He's shown a little bit of promise, a little bit.
He needs a little bit more development.
Yep. But
there's some potential there.
Yeah. Multi-year? I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe one more year.
That.
Yeah. And then, of course, speaking of which, so Spire is going to give Corey LaJoie more time to develop over a multi-year extension. I'm already hearing Noah Gregson's on his way out. As rumors are that he could be replaced as soon as 2024 by John Hunter Nemechek. Now, Gregson has not gotten any kind of time to develop.
No, nobody has done that kid any favors.
No, it's just
not
it's
at
silly.
All.
It's but that's why it's silly season.
Exactly. Crazy.
So before we move on to our picks for the Firekeepers Casino 400 up in Michigan, we should talk about you and I, our little gem on Thursday nights, Thursday Night Thunder now.
Yes, the Superstar Racing Experience, better known as SRX. 3 races in now.
And they finally raced somewhere other than Stafford Springs. I shouldn't make fun of that because, of course, it was a very bad situation up in Vermont where they were supposed to race the second SRX race of the season.
Yeah, that was literally flooded out.
Right.
So, but no, this third race, very, very interesting. at the was it North Carolina track?
No, Virginia.
Or Virginia.
Motor Mile.
The
Motor Mile
in
in Virginia. Yep.
Yeah. So Kyle Busch, making his first of 2 appearances, winds up wrecking Keselowski out of the way. Actually, it was Keselowski's fault, clearly coming down into Busch, trying to block, and it failed. But that got Busch out front, and he was able to cruise to victory, holding off restarts. Yeah, 3 restarts in the final 20 laps?
Yeah.
Because of accidents, hosing Clint Boyer, who had the best car in the finale, coming from the back, running on the apron, making time, making the passes. If he would have had the clear run, he would have easily passed Busch for the win. But all the melee starting with the idiot Paul Tracy.
And of course, Ken Schrader says, I'm not racing with this guy ever again.
Yeah.
Which is going to be interesting to see because they're both committed to the rest of the season.
You have not heard the news today.
Uh-oh.
Paul Tracy has been suspended for at least this week.
Oh, I did not hear this. No.
Yes. Paul Tracy has been suspended for week 4.
Oh, man.
For his stupidity in driving.
No, I did not hear this.
So they're looking for a replacement. I had not heard yet who was going to fill in.
Oh, man. Well, of course, they're running up in Grand Rapids.
Yep.
And because, of course, we've talked about this, they schedule the SRX races as close as they can to the NASCAR Cup races.
Yeah.
So maybe they can bring a Cup guy in, or an Xfinity guy in from over in Brooklyn, Michigan. But no, I did not know that. Oh, interesting. First time we've had a suspension in three seasons with SRX.
Yes. So
discipline.
Paul Tracy not running. Johnny Benson Jr. will be filling in.
Is he like a local legend?
He is from Michigan. So he has run at Berlin Speedway before. So he's kind of from that area. So it's kind of a home track for him. He had a decent little NASCAR career in the Cup Series. So
very, very interesting. Of course, even though ESPN carries Thursday Night Thunder now on the mothership, they don't even put any mention of it on their website at all.
None
There's not
whatsoever.
A link. There's not even a link.
They don't even
buried.
Include anything in the racing page.
Right.
Which is really freaking pathetic.
But that's ESPN.
Exactly.
All right, shall we do our picks? Fine, sir?
Certainly.
The Firekeepers Casino 400 up in Brooklyn, Michigan. Race 23. The regular season is winding down. This race will take place August the 6th of 2023. Might be able to watch this one. Not a concert on that day.
No, it's the night before.
Yes, sleep in and catch the racing action. And for one of the very few times in the 30-year history of Sports Frenzy, my man, my brother from another mother, the Conquistador, made a major faux pas.
Yes, busy at work this morning. Quick scan of who I'd picked. I miscounted how many Larsons I took and had to retract that pick and submit a secondary.
Which he was the turning vote in terms of who the most popular pick is among our panelists so far this week. Mrs. C still with her pick pending. Still got a couple hours to go before it's due.
Yep.
But 7 of the 8 panelists are in. And because you turned, you had to turn.
I had to turn.
You had to switch. You have now made Mr. Denny Hamlin the most popular pick among our panelists. Dave, Sam, and Aaron all taking Denny Hamlin. Doug and I take Kyle Larson. Nick goes with Martin Truex Jr. And that perpetual wine bag, I mean the Big Blue W, takes Kevin Harvick. I kid because I care. Bill just...
He's not had a good run of picking.
Yes, and he's complaining and whining because he's not going to make the playoffs here in our French.
Welcome to the club.
And he wants
I've
some
not
kind
made
of a
it
waiver.
Before, so suck it up, Buttercup.
He wants some kind of a waiver, some kind of a change at the last minute of rules. Now, Dave and I are discussing for 2024 possible changes.
Yes.
But we do not do anything willy-nilly mid-season. That is not acceptable unless, like, COVID hits. We had to do something.
Unless there's something stupid that happens.
Right. But we might switch to a more... let's say a structure that is more aligned with what NASCAR is doing in the Cup
Now,
Series.
this does not guarantee everybody makes the chase in our competition, but it will be more to the benefit of whoever is the leader.
But it will also help those at the bottom because we're discussing the whole win and you're in scenario, which we do not have right now.
Right.
NASCAR does that. We don't.
So if we did have it this year, we would all be in. But we're not changing our rules in the middle of the season. We don't do it.
No. We do not do knee-jerk. We are not reactionary. We are thoughtful. We're intelligent, mature people who never, I was going to say, who never ever fucking do something stupid like that. All right. Let's talk a little bit of the NFL to wrap up segment 2. Bad news for your Miami Dolphins.
Yep. Jalen Ramsey tears his meniscus, undergoes surgery for it. He'll be out probably a couple months. They sign Eli Apple to take his place.
I don't know if I should tell you this. A couple days ago.
Now what?
A couple days ago, Ian Rappaport, one of the few guys I trust in coverage of the NFL from the NFL Network, he said about a week ago that it's looking more like he's going to miss most of the season.
Son of a bitch.
But on the good news front for the Dolphins, I'm hearing that whole visit, the flirtation that Dalvin Cook had with the Jets was a whole bunch of nothing. That the Dolphins are still the front runners to land Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, we'll see. In a crowded running back room as it is.
Speaking of running backs, the drama, the saga. It's like SAG-AFTRA. They want to go on strike. The running backs do.
They do. And isn't karma a bitch if you're with the Colts?
Well, your owner's a bitch is the problem.
The owner comes out, no, running backs don't deserve any money, blah, blah, blah. Their starter, he's like, he's available for a trade because he's holding out, whatever. Well, I think you're going to wind up having to eat those words, Mr. Irsay.
Yeah, I mean, Irsay, he's right there with Jerry Jones in terms of the most intrusive, obtuse owners out there. They don't get it. They don't understand it.
They think they're the smartest guys in the organization.
And they're not.
No, so
yeah, now Jonathan Taylor, after having a conversation with Irsay, after the comments that you mentioned, now Jonathan Taylor wants a trade. And right after he requests a trade, wouldn't you know, the backup running back, Zach Moss, breaks his arm.
Yep. So, what are the Colts going to do?
Yeah,
are they going to make a run at Mr. Dalvin Cook?
And we still don't know what's going to happen with Josh Jacobs in Vegas.
Zeke Elliott still doesn't have a home.
And we know that Saquon Barkley begrudgingly signed the one-year deal with the Giants, but he's not happy. Again, I'm sorry for the running backs, but with a hard cap league like this, it's not that they're not. It's not like the Pirates or the Royals in baseball. Somebody else is getting your money, probably the quarterback. So
right or wrong.
So unless you take money away from the quarterback or one other position or two other positions on the team, you're not getting paid. They are prioritizing the positions. Do we protect the quarterback? Do we rush the quarterback? Or do we rush the football? And right now, rushing the football way down on the list.
Yep, you better have a mobile quarterback who can run. That's valued more highly than a traditional running back. I don't agree with it. I don't think the quarterback should be taking the hits that they are. They're too important in that regard. But at the same time, they're also getting wicked, stupid money that they don't deserve.
Yeah, and now you almost are scared to death. As a Bears fan, I'm scared to death that if Justin Fields has a good year here,
how much he's going to come
how much are the Bears going to be forced to pay him or forced to say sayonara?
Yeah.
And restart the whole QB cycle over again.
Yeah, because look at the deal Justin Herbert just got. Now the richest quarterback contract.
Yep, $52.5 million per year. Now
he hasn't done anything yet.
I blame the head coach on that one, though. I don't blame Herbert. There's no way they should have choked that lead away against Jacksonville. That's the coach. That's the coach.
But again,
Herbert didn't do anything to lose that game. It was the coach playing timid football.
Yeah.
Protect the lead football.
Yeah. Just absolutely insane.
Now, of course, the guy who was supposed to surpass even Justin Herbert has a bad luck situation pop up where Joe Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals strains his calf. He is out several weeks. Not ruling him out yet for the regular season,
but they got to protect him.
Now, how is this going to affect his negotiations for his, what I predict will be $53 million a year contract?
Yeah. But he's got an injury history now.
Yes. Yes, he does.
So
little fragile. Not like some of these running backs, but
right. You got to worry about him.
Yep. I still worry more about Lamar Jackson getting hurt than I do just Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
And of course, we talk about Justin Fields with the Bears. This is why I'm not really worried about him having a huge monster breakout year in terms of winning. You know, he'll put up the fantasy numbers, but when the Bears decide that Cole Kmet is a prime weapon and give him a 4-year, $50 million extension, I just scratch my head and once again go, the Bears don't know what they're doing. Doesn't matter who the GM is. It's the Who said it perfectly. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss.
Won't get fooled again.
Yep.
Or in this case, won't get pooled again.
And then the sad thing is, when I looked deeper into this contract extension, he's not even close to being the highest paid tight end in the league. Now, you would expect Travis Kelce to be ahead of him, but
this is kind of middle of the road money.
That tells you how maybe the running back should be going after the tight ends.
There you go.
Why are you paying the goddamn tight end so much?
You've got what, 3 tight ends that are worth the money?
Maybe. What? Kelce, Andrews, maybe Ingram down in Jacksonville right now, but that's off 1 year. You
almost would have said Waller, but he's an injury risk.
He's a bigger injury risk than any Joe Burrow or Saquon Barkley in my eyes. That guy can't get through a full season.
Ever.
So now the Giants have got him. They got him and Barkley. Oh, isn't Aaron Rodgers the best, Dave?
No.
I've got to do more research on this because I keep hearing it. He took a $35 million pay cut to help out the Jets. I don't believe that for a goddamn second.
And we're going to have Aaron Rodgers Day to go along with Bobby Bonilla Day. You know he didn't just give it up.
I keep hearing things that are tied into this. saying, well, now he's going to have to play at least 3 years.
We'll see.
Yeah. Well,
we'll see.
That probably explains a lot as to how they're trying to justify this $35 million pay cut he took. Nobody's taking a $35 million pay cut. Nobody. And I call bullshit on that. I call bullshit on that. Oh, and of course, Aaron Rodgers had to respond to Sean Payton's rant about Nathaniel Hackett. Of course, Sean Payton came out, new head coach of the Denver Broncos, inherited a mess from Nathaniel Hackett, and basically said as much. Said this place was a shambles.
He said what everybody knew, what everybody's been saying all around the country.
But, of course, Nathaniel Hackett, another one of these best buddies of Aaron Rodgers, who got brought into the New York Jets camp, along with Alan Lazard,
the old Packers.
Yeah, Rodgers, best coach I've ever had. He's so awesome. He's great. And Sean Payton's just insecure to say something like that. No, Sean Payton's calling it like it is. Denver Bronco fans calling it like it is.
Sean Payton did not say anything that he didn't say while he was an analyst in the studio. Everybody knew Hackett was a joke.
And of course, we have the one season of Hard Knocks, which I'll probably watch. The one reason I'll keep Max for a month or so is I've got to see this crap that's going to be going on in New York Jets training camp.
Oh, they're only going to show
with
the best
Mr. Ayahuasca. That's what I want to see. Are they going to whitewash this? Are they going to, of course, make this all look squeaky clean and great and fine and dandy? Or are they going to actually show us some of the nasty stuff that goes on behind the scenes?
Yeah. So
that's what so I'll watch it for that. If it's BS, if my BS detector goes off after the first couple episodes, I'll call it a day. Because if you're not going to show us the nasty, bad stuff along with the good stuff,
then what's the point of the show?
Because I'm telling you, Aaron Rodgers, he's got you all snowed. Not us. Not us.
Nope, we know better.
But Aaron Rodgers has got you all snowed, especially those of you up in New York. You think you're going to the Super Bowl. You watch. You watch what happens.
All right. Next segment coming up, we got some NCAA football news.
Very interesting topics to discuss in college football.
And then we've got our little wrap-ups and...
Couple of dumbasses.
So...
Yep. Stay tuned. One more promo break, and Dave and I'll be right back for one final segment here on Sports Frenzy 2.0, kids.
Hang loose.
Feeling mildly fatigued? Need a day off, even if you just took one a few days ago? Make $30 million a year, but just don't want to work for it? You need to join the NBA Load Management Club right now. When they're not napping or texting, guest lecturers Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving will describe foolproof ways to earn tens of thousands of dollars by not doing anything. Sports Frenzy 2.0, available on Spotify, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Casts, and wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, is currently negotiating with LeBron James to bring his popular How to Make the Hall of Fame Without Really Trying webinar live and in person to the Load Management Club. Thanks again to Sports Frenzy 2.0 and all you apathetic fans out there for making us a success. All right, everybody, time to get fired up. Feel like we've been a little mellow here on Sports Frenzy 2.0. Taping here on August the 2nd, hitting Thursday morning, August the 3rd. So we got to get fired up. Let's get you fired up for the weekend edition. We have got a ton of great stuff. Your Saturday morning hangover cure. We're going to talk about, as Dave mentioned earlier, Party Gras, Bret Michaels, Night Ranger, Jefferson Starship live. We've got a review for you.
We've got the week before we had a concert.
Yep. Dave's got to play catch up.
Yep. Lover Boy and Foreigner.
Yep. I have got a story time for you on one of the greatest comedy movies of all time. And of course, we will do our weekly recap talking about Justified City Primeval, What We Do in the Shadows, Tacoma FD. We'll have our dumbasses and a lot of significant moments of silence this week in the world of entertainment. So do not forget to check out the weekend edition every Saturday morning. But now we move on here in the sports edition to NCAA football. And if you thought the NFL had problems with gambling, just wait till your Uncle Dave tells you what's going on in Iowa.
Yeah. Iowa and Iowa State, both schools, 7 athletes so far being charged with illegal gambling. Lots of underage gambling, betting on their sports. Not good. So you've got 3 Iowa athletes headlined by their star basketball player, Aran Ulis. Not a good situation. So you have Ulis, baseball player Garrett Christensen, and Iowa's kicker Aaron Blum are hit.
So this covers all the major sports.
All the major sports. Then you got 4 Iowa State Cyclones, including quarterback Hunter Decker. He's really hit with the underage part, betting on Iowa State games, supposedly those he didn't play in, but still, not good. Former football player from Iowa State, Ioma Uwazurika, who was drafted by the Broncos and has been suspended indefinitely by the NFL for betting on NFL games. Not a good history with this guy. So, along with Decker and him, another football player, Dodge Saucer, and wrestler Panero Johnson.
Jesus Christ, goes into wrestling too.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Betting no bueno, kids. You see all these stupid ass commercials pounding, oh, Bet Live, DraftKings, blah, blah, blah. Not good. Not good at all. If you're an athlete, stay the hell away from it.
Yeah. Gambling is addictive as drugs, alcohol, any vice you can name. And we know people who can gamble responsibly. We don't gamble at all.
No.
So we stay away from it. I have better things to do with my money, like waste it on DVDs and CDs. And Dave, of course, is building the ultimate house of all time with his money. So, but it is addictive. And this is something that we've talked about in the past on this podcast when the major sports leagues started to venture into Las Vegas and the doors that was opening, the dangerous pathways that were opening for these major sports leagues.
Yep, and they all tried to combat it. Don't bet on your own sport. Don't place bets on your team's property. But these guys just don't get it.
No, because again, some of them are addicted. Some of them have a problem and they need help. And I'm not, of course, not trying to exonerate them because in the end, we're responsible for our own actions.
Yes.
Yes, help should be available, but at the same time, the activity needs to stop, whether it's drugs, alcohol, gambling, sex addiction, whatever it might be. It's a vice for a reason. It's why it's called a vice. They don't call it a vice if you eat too much peanut butter. There are certain things that are vices.
And that
means
one
of a vice leads to addiction. So get help. Do not destroy your life. Do not destroy your career like these guys that your Uncle Dave has just mentioned. But
unfortunately, because of the deal with the devil, you're seeing 3 or 4 commercials for gambling sites every commercial break.
And I think Fox Fox Sports, they had a joint venture going, trying to set up their little sports book, and that fell through. They're shutting that down. So it's not all sunshine and roses in the world of gambling.
No, it's not.
You got your major players, DraftKings, but
sports gambling and pharmaceutical companies being allowed to advertise are the worst things that could have possibly happened.
Yep. Now, the other big news in college football, of course, is still the movement of teams from one conference to another, the rumors, the innuendos. I mentioned last week, it was not confirmed at that point. Now it is official. Colorado is moving back to the Big 12 starting in the 24-25 season. So now you have the Pac-12 in bad shape, down to 9 teams. We mentioned a couple weeks ago, San Diego State mysteriously decided to stay in the Mountain West. Was that because they didn't want to board a sinking ship? Were they holding out for a better deal? But now, what kind of better deal are you going to get with the Pac-12? Last I heard, their media rights deal, which has been the crucial linchpin in all of this, now they're talking to Apple.
Yeah. Strictly streaming for the Pac-12. Seriously? People out west, predominantly California, where most of these schools are, they can't afford to live there. How are they going to afford the streaming?
So now we are looking at a possible vulture-like picking over the carcass.
That is the Pac-12.
And the Big Ten has come out today. Word is that they are the first ones that are going to start feasting on the carcass.
Yep. Said, yeah, we'll take you.
Big Ten looking now at potentially expanding with Washington and Oregon. Of course, they've already got USC and UCLA coming in. So the Big Ten will become a coast-to-coast league.
Boy, they're going to have to completely redesign their two divisions, aren't they?
It's going to be interesting to see what they do. But in the end, at least they're now one of the big boys because there are very few left. The SEC, of course, still on top. Big Ten, Big 12 looking good now as they've added a whole bunch of new members.
In
the ACC shape. Is the next one where you go. Because now word comes down. We have heard rumors, rumblings that the big 3 teams in the ACC, Clemson, Florida State, Miami, do not like the long-term deal that was signed.
But why would they want to mire themselves with the other? Why do you want to go to a bigger conference where they just beat the hell out of each other?
Well, FSU has now come out, apart from Clemson, apart from Miami, and said, if there is not a revenue change, if we do not revamp, again, we talked about this, the big 3 want more of the pie than the smaller schools in the ACC. And if Miami and now Florida State saying it outright, Miami, Clemson, Florida State says if there's not a change in the payout, in the revenue payout, we're leaving.
Greed is not good.
All right, in media news, sports media news, I can't wait, Dave. Super Bowl 58 coming up. Guess what?
What?
It's going to be on Nickelodeon and a slime cast.
They've had it the last couple years.
Not the Super
Bowl.
Not
the Super Bowl.
Not the Super Bowl.
They've done their... who cares?
They're coming for our children, Dave.
Who cares?
I don't care. I really don't. I just want better commercials on the normal broadcast. And a better halftime show. God damn it, put on a better halftime show.
Better
Stop
yet,
kissing the ass of the millennials And
better yet, why do we have to have a halftime show anymore?
Yeah, wrap the game up about 20 minutes earlier if you just have a normal halftime show.
Standard normal halftime. We don't need the pomp and circumstance bullshit. Nobody cares anymore.
I miss the good old days when MTV would counter program and put Beavis and Butthead on during halftime, or Comedy Central would put on South Park.
Where the hell's the Lingerie Bowl now?
Yeah, the Lingerie Bowl. Now we're all forced to watch one of these generic hip-hop acts. I don't know. I can't stand the halftime show. I literally walk out for 20 minutes during the halftime. Can't stand it. Yeah, it's because you're an old man, Maestro. You're a grumpy old man. What's wrong with putting Metallica on at halftime? What the hell would be wrong with that? How would that not appeal to the wider segment of the audience? Young and old alike. Put Metallica out there.
No,
what are you going to do? Put Lizzo out there after all the allegations now about her fat shaming her dancers? Talking about pot kettle black.
It's been so long since I've actually paid attention to a halftime show, regardless of who the act has been.
They're not getting somebody like Taylor Swift would laugh at them. She's making $1 billion on this current tour. The money the NFL could offer her is chump change.
It might pay for gas for moving from one city to the next.
Metallica, Foo Fighters, come on! Oh, and ESPN, the bloodletting was not done yet, Dave.
No, it is not.
And again, kids, that
and it all stems from the rat.
It all stems from a lot of the money they paid to Troy Aikman and Joe Buck. Overpaying for them on Monday Night Football. But as you can tell, there's no NBA news this week outside of this tied into the media. We know Jeff Van Gundy was already cut. He's gone. He's done. He's fired. Now they let go of Mark Jackson, the other member of the three-man team outside of Mike Breen. So now ESPN, we're going to have this new super trio doing the NBA games, including the finals. Mike Breen will be joined now by Doc Rivers. And, of course, they're promoting Doris Burke.
Of course.
And Doris Burke's fine, but come on. It's so blatant in how they're pushing her up the ladder. Oh, because she's a woman. Oh, isn't it great she's a woman? Why don't you have RuPaul join her? Breen, RuPaul, and Doris Burke. There you go. The Mouse House gets what it wants.
Check and check.
Checkbox, checkbox. I hate ESPN. God, I hate ESPN so much. That's why I'm mad about them having SRX.
I know.
As we talked about earlier, they don't cover it on their website, but somehow, it's good enough to put on our channel. Idiots. Idiots.
Should have stayed with CBS.
I liked it on Saturday night better. I did.
Me too.
There's nothing wrong with Saturday night.
None.
Not at all. Gives you something to watch on Saturday night if you don't want to watch a movie. Start it. 9 o'clock on Thursday night when most of us have to work Friday morning.
What was wrong with an 8 o'clock start?
And then you told me, if you filter out the commercials, how long does it take to watch the two heats in the race?
Less than an hour.
Yeah. So it's a whole bunch of
55 minutes.
It's a whole bunch of filler. It's a whole bunch of crap. They didn't even have Nicole Briscoe on this week. And Haley Deegan ran so badly, they didn't talk about her. So what the hell am I watching?
Exactly.
They had Smoke doing the interviews. I love Tony Stewart, but come on. He ain't Nicole Briscoe.
Yeah, she's easy on the eyes. And she actually does a really damn good interview, too.
She does. She does. All right. I do not have a moment of silence in the sports world this week, believe it or not.
No, but I do have a badass. Once again, Liam Hendrick got through cancer, came back pitching, just had to undergo Tommy John surgery. He's stated that he's always had a frayed UCL, but all the chemo and everything he went through when he came back pitching was the final straw for it. So he had to undergo that. So now he has to battle yet again for another 12 to 14 months to come back from this. So the guy is a badass for everything he's gone through, persevering. And I know with that attitude of his, he will come back from this as well.
Very cool. Very, very cool. That makes him a 2-time badass this year, doesn't it?
It does.
Puts him in the running for Badass of the Year.
Yep. It's not only doing something good, but overcoming major adversity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But of course, what do we do at this point, Dave?
Pivot.
Couple of dumbasses, just 2. So we're not going to play America's favorite game show this week. But we will take some time to discuss these because, wow, these are worth.
It's just bad form. We didn't even discuss it, and I'm pretty sure I know where you're going.
Well, we discussed, because of course when we go to concerts like we did last weekend, we have to have something to talk about in the car. So some of these topics come up. So we have definitely discussed the first of my 2 dumbasses of the week, and that would be the caving in. Not only the people who complained and bitched and pissed and moaned and cried, but the caving in of the Reds' AA team, the Chattanooga Lookouts. Putting out T-shirts. Now, kids, bear with me here. I'll explain this to you. I'll do my best.
Because this is more of a visual.
Right. You can look up the T-shirt involved here online if you want. So Chattanooga Lookouts is the team name. So the shirts shorten the first part, the city, to Nooga. Okay, Nooga.
Double O.
And then what they do with the O's is because they're the lookouts, they make the O's kind of like eyes, looking up, kind of like cartoon eyes.
Yep. Brilliant.
Doesn't sound like anything offensive.
I like the idea. That's kind of cool.
You look at the shirt. Doesn't look offensive at all. Looks absolutely fine. Looks very interesting. People complained. People bitched. People pissed and moaned and cried, saying, believe it or not, that the shirt was racist.
What?
Because they said this whole Nooga logo with eyes looked much too similar to the N-word, the racial epithet that we all despise and hate. I don't know how.
The people who see that are complete dumbasses. Absolute stupidity.
And then, of course, the worst part is the Lookouts caved.
No,
the Reds
double
caved,
down. Double down.
They pulled the shirts.
Not cool. Not cool at all.
There is no way in hell, kids, we are ever going to be able to fight cancel culture and these little worms
if you keep posting
in their mother's basement. As Dave said, if we keep caving in, if we keep giving in, you need to fight. It's still the policy here on Sports Frenzy. We don't apologize.
This is one of those instances that, no, you do not cave on this. There is nothing wrong with that shirt.
But again, these companies...
A handful of little... And they caved.
Yeah.
Stupidity.
Someday, hopefully, I have little faith, but someday these companies will learn, do not cave in to the woke groups, the woke culture. Look what happened to Bud Light. Look at what happened when people started ripping on Jason Aldean about his song.
Things backfire.
Idiots, dumbasses. And in this case, the dumbasses are not only the people who complained, but the Reds and the Chattanooga Lookouts for pulling the shirts. Now, as we do this podcast, we are explicit. We are labeled as explicit, so we do say some things that are a little immature, but still funnier than hell. And again, we don't apologize. We'll never apologize. Because we say what we mean what we say.
The only time we'll apologize is if we are in error.
Factual error, yes. But in terms of our opinions are your opinions. They can't be wrong or right.
First Amendment.
Well, here's an interesting scenario to wrap up this week's Sports Frenzy 2.0.
I'm going to have one other.
Very good. Name on the radio. Out of Washington. WBIG is the station. Don Geronimo, real name Michael Source, was recently fired as they were at Washington Commanders training camp. And Don Geronimo and his cohort, the guy he does his show with, spotted a female TV correspondent as she was heading into the stadium, and of course also had media access to talk to some of the players. And Don Geronimo decided, let's start calling her Barbie, or saying, isn't she a cheerleader? And then things got a little bit worse, where he started talking about her being tight.
And this was all on the air, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
What a frickin' dumbass.
So no shock to anybody in this day and age. This is not Howard Stern from 20 years ago. He was fired. Michael Sorsey was taken off the air as Don Geronimo and fired at WBIG.
Fired might have been a little overboard. A suspension with sensitivity training would have been more appropriate. But still, he's a dumbass for making the comments, but it was a dumbass overreaction by the radio station as well.
And that's kind of what I'm getting to. The general national reaction from the talking heads on sports media who have discussed this are kind of saying the same thing. Kind of saying he should have known better than to go as far as he did with it. But at the same time, if we're going to start firing people over this type of stuff, then you're really narrowing what can be talked about, what can be said.
Things are just getting too damn sensitive and out of control.
Well, of course they are. But that's why here we do whatever the hell we want.
Including calling Clippers player Amir Coffey a dumbass because he was arrested for a concealed weapon after the car he was riding in was pulled over for speeding. It's the NBA. Have you not paid any damn attention to what's been going on with Ja Morant? There's no damn excuse for Coffey to have had a concealed weapon in California, especially not having a permit. This guy is going to wind up with a suspension. And if he doesn't, then there's some serious frickin' problems with the alien.
Yeah, then we go back to our discussion of commissioners and Adam Silver.
Yeah, no, but seriously, What a complete dumbass on that.
Well, the sad thing is, all you got to do is watch a weekend episode of On Patrol Live, and half the people they pull over for speeding or not having a valid registration, not having a
valid
license plate, and or window tint.
Yeah.
Too dark on the window tint. And then they up having drugs and weapons in the car.
Those who actually have a concealed or a permit to carry, they're let go because they're legal. If you do not have it, if you're not allowed to carry, don't frickin' have one.
Right. But then, of course, it still doesn't exonerate you for the 3 pounds of weed in the coffee can in the back seat.
and the $1,000 rolls that you have in the backpack, and the scales. Yeah.
And the crack rocks and the meth that they find on the floorboards of the car after they pulled you out. Dumbasses
if you're
will
riding
be dumbasses.
Dirty, don't speed, don't have illegal tint, and keep your damn registration up.
And that's what I don't understand. How hard is it? How hard is it? But then again, you and I deal with the public every day in one form or another, and sometimes you wonder.
And the few miles it takes me to get to work every day, I see at least a half a dozen expired tags. And not just by months, some of them by years.
I went years without hitting my horn, and now I hit it almost every day because people
are on their damn phones not paying attention.
And they won't look up, and they hold the whole line up when the green light comes on for 5 seconds because they're looking at their goddamn phones. You're all dumbasses. Fix yourselves. Get educated. Common sense, people. They don't sell it in the store, but it's pretty easy to get. You just do the right thing. Doesn't matter if you're an NBA player, an NFL player, or you work at fucking Walmart. Common sense. Do the right thing. That's your life lesson for the week here.
There you go.
On Sports Frenzy 2.0. And of course, once again,
check out the weekend edition where we have a lot of good stuff in store for you. Check out the Facebook page where all our picks are going to be.
Baseball picks, NASCAR picks, and coming up in a few weeks,
all the football picks.
That's right, kids. Yeah, that's going to be fun for me. Oh. More work for the maestro.
Pick smart. Don't pick angry.
And of course, we got fantasy football coming up too.
Yep. Oh Lord.
So we will have
this is the busiest time of the year coming up.
Here coming up within the next, I would say, 2 episodes. Not next week, but the week after.
Then all hell will break loose.
No, next week we have to do a preview.
We do have the preview
and then the week after would be the recap of the draft. Because our fantasy football draft is Monday the 14th.
Yep, so, lots going on.
Yep.
Gear up, kids. It's going to be a bumpy ride from here on out.
He's the Conquistador, Dave Heights.
He's the Maestro, Kevin Crane.
Once again, last time, check out the weekend edition this Saturday morning. Otherwise, 7 days from now, we will be right back here talking baseball, NASCAR, all the sports, and the dumbasses that matter. Say goodbye to the kids, Dave.
Goodbye to the kids, Dave.